I was stalked by a man I met at a nightclub. Days later, he was outside my house every night, until we caught him and discovered he was a killer. It started off as a typical Saturday night. My friends and I had gone out to this new club downtown called Hayes. It was trendy, packed, and the kind of place where you could lose yourself in music and lights. Everything felt normal until I noticed a man staring at me from across the bar. At first, I thought maybe he was just glancing around. But every time I looked up, his eyes were locked on mine. Not in a flirtatious way. It was vacant, unblinking, like he wasn't seeing me, but something else. Something inside me. I laughed it off, tried to enjoy the music, but his presence was starting to ruin my night. Later, when I went to the restroom, I spotted him again. He was standing by the hallway near the bathrooms, pretending to check his phone. When I walked past, I felt his eyes burning into the back of my neck. I tried to move fast, but when I came out, he was gone. My friends brushed it off. "He's probably just drunk," they said. "Don't let it ruin your night." I tried, but even as we danced and laughed, I could feel that sense of unease crawling under my skin. Around 2 a.m. we left the club. My friend Jess called a rideshare, but I lived a few blocks away and decided to walk. It was a warm night and I wanted some air. Big mistake. 2 blocks in, I heard footsteps behind me. Slow, deliberate. When I turned, there was no one there. I picked up the pace. The sound of the steps did too. I ducked into a convenience store, pretending to shop. I waited 10 minutes before leaving, heart racing. My street was empty when I got to it. I was just overreacting, right? When I got home, I locked every door and window. Still, I couldn't sleep. Around 3:45 a.m., I peeked through the blinds just for peace of mind. And that's when I saw him. The same man from the club standing across the street, staring straight up at my apartment window. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw his silhouette, standing across the street like some statue from a nightmare. He never moved. Not when a car passed. Not when a cat darted across the sidewalk. He just stood there, staring up at my window. Around 5 a.m., the first hints of sunlight began to rise, and that's when I saw him finally walk away, slowly, like he wasn't in a rush. I tried to convince myself I'd imagined it all. I even started typing a message to a friend. "I think I'm being followed," but then deleted it. What was I going to say? That some creep looked at me weird in a club and then possibly followed me home? But then it happened again. 2 nights later, I saw him again. This time I was in my kitchen making tea, and out of pure instinct I glanced through the window, and there he was. Not across the street. Not hidden. He was on my porch, standing still, with his face almost pressed against the glass of my front door. I dropped the mug. It shattered. I ran to my bedroom and locked the door, then called 911. My voice was shaking so bad, I could barely explain what was happening. The dispatcher told me to stay on the line. I huddled in my closet with a knife I had grabbed from the kitchen earlier, trying not to sob too loudly. Police arrived 10 minutes later, sirens screaming. But when they got there, he was already gone.
No fingerprints. No footprints.
Nothing. The police tried to reassure me. Could be a prank. Maybe someone knows you and thinks it's funny. They said they'd patrol the neighborhood for the next few nights, but I could tell they didn't take it seriously. That same night, I stayed at my friend Jess's place. She insisted I wasn't going to sleep alone. I felt safer for a while. But when we returned to my apartment the next day, something was off. Nothing was broken, no doors were unlocked, but I knew something was wrong. And then I saw it. A single Polaroid photo sitting on my kitchen counter. It was a picture of me sleeping. Jess saw it too. Her face went pale. "Did you take this yourself?" she whispered.
No.
I've never owned a Polaroid camera. We went straight to the police. This time they started taking it seriously. They installed a temporary security camera and even gave me a direct line to a detective. But deep down I felt like it was too late. This wasn't random. This wasn't a stalker looking for attention. This was someone who planned things. Someone who had been watching for a long time. That night I stayed up late, watching the footage from the security cam on my laptop in real time. Around 2:37 a.m., the screen glitched. It cut to static for exactly 6 seconds. When it came back, a new Polaroid had appeared under my front door. This time the photo wasn't of me. It was of Jess, taken from inside her bedroom. The next morning, Jess packed her things and left town to stay with her cousin. She didn't even tell her job. She just vanished. I don't blame her. The photo was undeniable proof that this man had been inside her apartment. We searched her windows and doors, all locked, no signs of forced entry. Whoever this guy was, he didn't need to break in. He knew how to get in. Quietly. After Jess left, I was alone again. I installed a new lock on every door. Bought motion lights. I even got a dog, a rescue named Max, sweetest mutt you'd ever meet, but built like a tank. That first night with Max, I felt safer. He barked at every little noise, so I figured at least I'd get a warning before anything happened. But on the third night, Max didn't bark. He whimpered. It was around 3 a.m. when I woke up to the sound. Max was curled up near the door, growling so low it almost sounded like a vibration. I reached for my phone, opened the security feed, and froze. There he was, not on the porch. Inside my living room, just standing there, inches from the hallway that led to my bedroom.
No mask.
Just that same blank expression I remembered from the club. His head slowly turned toward the camera, like he knew exactly where it was, and then he walked out of frame. I screamed. I ran out through my bedroom window, barefoot in the cold. I didn't stop running until I was at a gas station 10 blocks away, shaking and dialing 911. By the time the police got to my apartment, he was gone. Again. But this time he left something behind. There were 5 new Polaroids taped to my bedroom wall, each one more disturbing than the last. Me brushing my teeth. Me changing my clothes. Me curled up with Max asleep. A photo of my deadbolt, halfway unlocked. The last one of my face screaming as I ran out the window. It was from that night minutes earlier, meaning he had a camera on him while I was still inside. He took the picture and stayed long enough to pin it to my wall after I fled. I couldn't take it anymore. I left the city the next day and went to stay with my grandmother in a rural town 2 hours away. No social media, no forwarding address. I cut off everything. Weeks passed. Nothing happened. No notes, no pictures, no sightings. It was quiet, peaceful. I started to believe it was over, until Grandma knocked on my door one morning with a puzzled look on her face. Honey, were you expecting a package? I wasn't. It was a plain brown envelope. No return address. Inside was just one photo. It was taken from inside this house. In the background you could see my grandmother sleeping on the couch. And in the foreground me, brushing my hair in the bathroom mirror. Just like before. I dropped the photo on the kitchen floor. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. My grandma saw my face and asked me what was wrong, but I couldn't even speak. I just told her to pack a bag. We left the house that same day and drove straight to the police station in town. I brought everything, the old Polaroids, the latest photo from inside her house, even my home security footage from weeks ago. The small town cops listened carefully and, to my surprise, took it seriously. They kept asking the same question. Do you know this man? Have you ever interacted with him directly? But that was the thing, I didn't. Not really. Aside from that weird encounter in the club, I'd never spoken to him, never even heard his voice. Yet somehow he tracked me. Across cities. Into homes. Past locks, dogs, and alarm systems. He was like a ghost, except he always left something behind. The sheriff put out a bulletin with his photo and promised to keep watch on Grandma's house. But I knew it wouldn't stop him. So I went even further. I changed my name. Legally. New ID. New phone number. New everything. I moved into a women's shelter in another state while I searched for a job and an apartment. I used cash only. I deleted every trace of my old identity. And for 6 months it worked. I slowly started to sleep again. I even adopted a new cat, named Lola, who liked to perch in the windows and hiss at squirrels. Life was quiet. I started going outside without constantly looking over my shoulder. But then one night, I came home from a late shift and found something sitting on my bed. It was Lola, dead. Her neck was twisted, her body carefully laid out like she was asleep. Pinned to her fur was a single Polaroid. It showed me that same night, unlocking my front door just hours earlier. The angle of the photo meant that he had been behind me, maybe just feet away. That night I snapped. I called the only person I knew who might understand, Jess. She hadn't heard from me since she'd left town, but when I told her what had happened, she didn't hesitate. She drove 5 hours through the night to get to me. When she walked into the room and saw Lola, she just stared. "I think we need to go to the press," she whispered. "We need everyone to know about this." But I had a different idea. We wouldn't just tell the press. We'd bait him. We'd make a fake profile, a fake address, a trap. And this time we'd catch him. Jess and I spent the next week crafting a story so believable it could pass for my real life. A fake online persona, complete with social media accounts, geotagged photos, and even a phony job listing that matched my new location. We rented an apartment under Jess's name, filled it with thrifted furniture, and installed cameras in every corner. We even set up a neighbor across the hall to keep watch through a peephole. We didn't tell the police. We knew if he caught even the scent of cops, he'd vanish again like smoke. The trap was simple. I'd post a series of new photos under the fake name, casually tagging the fake address. Then I'd go out for a night, leave the apartment empty and wait. It took 3 days. On the third night, I got the notification on the fake account. A new follower with a completely blank profile. Just an eye emoji in the bio. Then came a message. "Miss me." We waited. At 3:27 a.m., the motion sensors in the fake apartment triggered. Our camera feed lit up. There he was. He moved like he'd done it 100 times, gloves, mask, quiet footsteps. He didn't break anything. He didn't rush. He savored it like it was a ritual. He walked into the bedroom, pulled out a small Polaroid camera from his bag, and started snapping pictures of the empty bed. Then he opened the closet, and Jess was inside with a baseball bat. The sound of the bat cracking against his shoulder was loud enough that our neighbors woke up. He screamed, stumbled, and tried to run, but I was already at the door locking it from the outside. Jess hit him again, not to kill, just to stop. The police arrived in minutes. We'd sent them the live feed from the cameras just before he entered. When they unmasked him, my stomach turned. He wasn't some stranger. His name was Daniel R. He'd gone to high school with me, 2 grades above. We had barely spoken, but apparently I'd once lent him a pencil. That was all it took. He'd built this obsession in silence for nearly a decade, followed my social media, memorized my routines, waited for a moment when I was weak, drunk, dancing alone, and then he made his move. He was charged with stalking, breaking and entering, animal cruelty, and unlawful surveillance. He'll be in prison for a long time. I testified against him in court, and when I told the jury about Lola, my voice shook, but I didn't cry. I wouldn't give him that. I changed my name again after the trial, moved far away. I don't post photos anymore, but I do keep one thing pinned above my bed. A photo of Lola in the sunlight, blinking slow and happy. A reminder that monsters are real, but so is justice. And next time I won't need a trap. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know your opinions in the comments and of course subscribe.